All right, so today we are diving into something that gets your adrenaline pumping and your mind strategizing. Getting.
Your favorite.
Ha ha ha. Yeah. Right. But before you picture us like in Vegas, surrounded by flashing lights and stuff, today's deep dive is all about bankroll management.
How much less exciting?
Yeah, maybe less exciting than Vegas, but way more important if you want to be a smarter, better. Think of it like this. We're giving you the playbook for making smart betting decisions not just on one game, but across an entire game week. Like imagine spreading your bets strategically across a whole week of games, making your money work harder for you.
Yeah, and the best part is you don't have to be a seasoned gambler or a math whiz to do this.
Exactly. So we're talking about strategy here, making sure we're in it for the long haul. But let's break it down. What exactly is bankroll management?
Well, it's like this. Imagine you're building a house, right? Your bankroll is your foundation.
Okay, so it's like the money you've specifically set aside for betting, not your rent money or grocery money.
Exactly. It's a dedicated fund. And bankroll management is all about protecting that foundation, making it strong so you can build upon it.
So instead of just throwing darts at a dartboard of odds, it's about making sure those throws count, making sure you're not just throwing money away.
Precisely. It's about calculated risks, not just throwing caution to the wind. It's like you wouldn't invest your entire life savings in a single company's stock, would you? You diversify, you manage your risk, and that's what we're doing here with bankroll management in betting.
Makes sense. Now, this guide we're diving into today lays out some fundamental principles for managing your bankroll. It's like having the ground rules before you even step onto the field. The first one, and this one really resonated with me, is never bet more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah, that's like the golden rule of betting right there.
Totally. But it seems kind of obvious, right? Like, what does that actually look like in real life?
You'd be surprised how many people, even experienced bettors, get caught up in the moment and overextend themselves. Before you even think about teams or odds, define what afford to lose means for you. Seriously, look at your budget, your expenses, and only play with what you're truly comfortable losing. It's about protecting yourself.
Right, like we're not talking about putting your rent money on the line here. It's about playing within limits, which leads us to the next principle, setting a staking plan.
This is where things start to get strategic.
Okay, so break it down for us.
Basically, a staking plan is a system for deciding how much to wager on each game. It takes the emotion out of betting.
So instead of just like, I don't know, getting caught up in the excitement of a game and betting more than you plan, you have a system.
Yeah, exactly. And a really common approach is using percentages of your bankroll.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So say, hypothetically, you have a $1,000 bankroll and you decide on a 2% staking plan. Does that mean you'd only ever bet $20 on a game no matter what?
You got it. That's fixed percentage staking in action. It keeps things consistent.
So even if you were like 100% sure that a certain team was going to win, you'd still only bet that $20.
Well, ideally, yes. It's all about sticking to your plan and not letting emotions get the best of you.
That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're on a winning streak and feeling invincible. One wrong move could wipe out a big chunk of your winnings. It's about staying consistent, which is actually the third key principle, isn't it?
It is. Consistency is key in so many aspects of life, but especially in betting.
And honestly, that's where I think I'd struggle staying disciplined, even when my emotions are running high. Like imagine your team is playing in a huge game.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get swept up in the excitement of a win or the frustration of a loss. You win a couple of bets and suddenly you feel invincible, ready to throw down bigger amounts. Or you hit a losing streak and want to chase those losses, win it all back immediately.
It's like the siren song of betting tempting you to throw caution to the wind.
Exactly. And that's what bankroll management, and especially this principle of consistency, helps you avoid. It's about taking a calm, calculated approach, sticking to your plan, even when your gut is screaming otherwise.
So discipline over despair, right?
You got it. Consistency over impulsivity is the name of the game.
So we've covered the basics, the ground rules, but now I'm really interested to hear more about these bankroll management strategies.
Well, get ready because there are actually quite a few different approaches.
That's great though, right? Because it means we can find something that really fits our own betting style. Not all of us are high rollers.
Absolutely. And this guide we're looking at does a great job of outlining these different strategies. No one-size-fits-all approach here.
Okay, so let's dive in. And it looks like the guide starts simple, which I appreciate. First up, we've got fixed percentage staking, which you already explained so clearly. It's like setting your betting on autopilot, right?
In a way, yeah, you could say that. The basic idea with fixed percentage staking is you're consistently wagering the same percentage of your bankroll on each game, regardless of how confident you are.
Right, so you're taking the emotion out of it to some extent. You're not tempted to suddenly bet more because you're on a winning streak or something.
Precisely. It's about discipline and sticking to your plan.
Sticking to those percentages. So just to be clear, if we're talking about that $1,000 bankroll and a 2% plan, even if you were absolutely sure a certain game was a guaranteed win, you'd still only wager $20.
Exactly. You're sticking to that 2% no matter what.
Wow, okay, I see how that takes discipline. But it makes sense because even on a winning streak, one poorly calculated bet could wipe out a good chunk of your profits.
Absolutely. It's all about protecting what you've gained.
Okay, what's next?
So, on the other end of the spectrum, we have something called flat betting. This one's about as straightforward as it gets. You choose a fixed dollar amount, say $20, and that's your bet for every single game. It doesn't matter what the odds are or how confident you feel.
Oh, interesting. So similar to fixed percentage staking, but instead of a percentage, it's a fixed dollar amount.
Exactly. Easy to track, easy to manage. A lot of beginners like to start with this approach.
Makes sense. But what about those times when you're feeling extra confident about a particular game? Wouldn't you want to bet a bit more in those situations to potentially maximize your winnings?
I can see where you're coming from. And for those situations, there's variable staking based on confidence levels.
Okay, this sounds more my speed. Tell me more.
So with this strategy, you're still using percentages, but you're adjusting them based on how strongly you feel about a particular bet.
So like if I'm feeling super confident, I might bet a slightly higher percentage of my bankroll.
Exactly. Think of it as having different tiers of confidence, low, medium, and high. You might decide to bet 1% for those low confidence bets, 2% for medium, and maybe 3% when you're feeling really good about a game.
I like it. You're still working within those safe percentages, but adding a layer of, I don't know, intuition or calculated risk-taking.
You got it. It's about finding that balance between strategy and your own assessment of a game.
So far, so good. What else have we got?
Now, building on this idea of flexible percentages, we have proportional betting.
Okay, tell me more about proportional betting. What's the strategy there?
So instead of a fixed percentage of your initial bankroll, proportional betting uses a fixed percentage of your current bankroll.
Hold on. So as your bankroll grows, your bet sizes grow with it. And if it shrinks, you're naturally playing more cautiously.
Exactly. It's a dynamic approach that automatically adjusts to the ups and downs of betting.
That's pretty cool, actually. It's like adjusting your spending habits based on your current bank balance. You're far less likely to overspend if you're always factoring in the big picture.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the essence of proportional betting.
Okay, I'm ready for the next level. What else is in this playbook?
All right, get ready for a strategy that's a bit more complex, but trust me, we'll break it down. It's called the Kelly Criterion, and it involves a bit of math.
A bit of math never scared anyone. Well, me maybe, but go on. I'm intrigued.
So the Kelly Criterion is all about finding the optimal bet size by considering both the odds offered by the bookmaker and your own estimated probability of the bet winning.
Okay, so it's not just about how confident I feel, but also about how the odds themselves translate into potential profit.
You got it. Think of the Kelly Criterion as your secret weapon. It takes all the guesswork out of bet sizing.
I like the sound of that. So it tells you exactly how much to bet on a game.
Well, it gives you a recommendation based on the odds in your own assessment. However, it can sometimes recommend bets that are larger than some bettors are comfortable with.
Okay, so maybe not a secret weapon for the faint of heart.
Right. And that's where fractional Kelly comes into play.
Fractional Kelly. Sounds intriguing. What's that?
It's actually quite simple. Instead of betting the full amount recommended by the Kelly formula, you bet a fraction of it, maybe half or even a quarter.
So you're essentially scaling down the Kelly Criterion's advice to better suit your own risk tolerance.
Precisely. You still get the benefits of this powerful strategy, but in a way that feels more manageable.
Wow, so many different strategies to wrap our heads around. It's like having a whole arsenal of betting tools.
That's a great way to put it. And just like any tool, it's about choosing the right one for the job.
Exactly. And speaking of choosing the right path, this guide doesn't just talk about the strategies, it also highlights some common bankroll management mistakes, like cautionary tales, which I always appreciate.
Oh, absolutely. Learning from others' mistakes is invaluable, especially in the world of betting.
For sure. So what's the first mistake we need to watch out for?
Well, one of the most common pitfalls, and it's a trap almost every bettor has fallen into at some point, is chasing losses.
Oh, tell me about it. You have a couple of losing bets and suddenly you're like, I gotta win it back, double or nothing.
Right, and it's so tempting to think that way, like you're due for a win, so you start increasing your bets to make up for those losses. But that kind of thinking, it's a recipe for disaster.
It's like being down a few chips in poker and then suddenly going all in on a weak hand. Not a good strategy.
Exactly. Those who are successful at bankroll management, they understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. They stick to their plan even when they're on a losing streak.
So patience and discipline are key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't let those emotions get the best of you. Now, another common mistake is betting too much on one single game.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. You get caught up in the hype, you're feeling super confident, and boom, you've put way too much on the line.
It happens to the best of us. But that's why it's crucial to diversify your bets, spread that risk around. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
Makes sense. It's like no matter how much you love a particular team or player, you don't want to bet your entire bankroll on a single game.
Exactly. Speaking of spreading your bets, another mistake people make is ignoring value.
Okay, what does that mean exactly? Ignoring value.
So you could have a fantastic bankroll management strategy, but if you're consistently placing bets where the odds are in your favor, you're going to lose in the long run.
So it's about making smart bets in the first place, not just managing the amount of money you're wagering.
You got it.
Yeah.
You need to find those bets where the potential payout outweighs the risk. That's value betting.
So we need to do our research, shop around for the best odds, and not just jump on the first bet that looks tempting.
Precisely. Don't be afraid to walk away from a bet if the value isn't there, even if everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon.
This whole conversation has been eye-opening. It's amazing how much strategy and psychology go into successful bankroll management.
Absolutely. It's about making informed decisions, not just relying on luck.
So, to wrap things up, it sounds like the key takeaways here are set a budget, have a plan, and don't let your emotions make decisions for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Excellent. Well, a huge thank you to you for breaking down these bankroll management strategies. This has been incredibly insightful. And to all of you listening, remember, betting should be fun. So play responsibly, manage your bankroll wisely, and hopefully we'll see you on the winning side of those bets.